In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Majora's Mask recompiled on the Xbox Series X and S. Decompiled N64 games have been really cool to mess with, and today I want to show you all how to get Majora's Mask set up and running on your Xbox Series X and S consoles. This runs through the Zelda 64 Recomp project, and it is pretty awesome how easy this is to get set up, and it includes full mod support and a lot of extras. So let's go ahead and dive in. So before we get started, there are a couple of things you're going to need, the first of which being an Xbox Series X or S console, and that console needs to be registered for developer mode. So I have a developer mode setup guide as well as RetroArch setup guide if you want to get other emulators going at the same time. So you can follow along with this guide to get your Xbox set up into dev mode, get a properly formatted USB drive ready, and just start on your emulation journey if desired. But once you have dev mode set up, you can continue along with this video. Now, as previously stated, you are going to need an external USB drive of some variant. I've been using this Crucial X6 for a number of years now, and it has been an absolute champ at everything I've thrown against it when it comes to running emulation on Xbox Series X and S. You could also use any sort of thumb drive, mechanical hard drive, but faster storage has definitely been preferable for a lot of projects when it comes to Xbox. And next, you are going to need a copy of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. So I have guides on the channel on how to back up N64 ROMs using a couple of different dumpers as well as an old Game Shark Windows 98 method. Very fun stuff, but you are going to need to supply your own Majora's Mask ROM. Illegal download links are not supplied on this channel, so you're just going to have to come up with a way to get this ROM yourself. Well, let's go ahead and get the Zelda 64 recompilation downloaded for our Xbox Series X and S. So we're going to head over to the dev store, link in the description as always, and we're just going to scroll down to the bottomish here where we find the game section, and we're going to find us the Zelda 64 Recomp project. So we're just going to click on download and tell it to download from here. Now with that downloaded, go ahead and get your Xbox booted up into dev mode and make sure you're on the dev mode home screen with it hooked up to your network as shown up in my dev mode setup guide. So make note of your remote access IP address and get that entered into the web browser on the device you just downloaded the Zelda 64 Recomp project on. Once you're logged into your Xbox device portal, under My Games and Apps, we're just going to click on Add, and then you can drag the Zelda 64 Recomp app package in right here, or you can click on Choose File, and then just go ahead and get it selected, click on Next, and then click on Start since there's no dependency files needed for this one. And done. So now over on our Xbox, we're just going to change that Zelda 64 recompiled UWP type from app to game if you don't have it manually set to do so already in your Xbox device portal. But under View Details, we could just come in here, change it from app to game, and then I always like to do a console restart. That's just my thing. Alright, so now that we got the Zelda 64 recompiled app installed, let's go ahead and get our Majora's Mask ROM set up so we can begin playing this. So again, you are going to need to provide your own copy of Majora's Mask. So I'm using a North American copy here that I dumped from my original cartridge. I believe this should work with PAL and NTSC-J copies as well. I'm not sure, but I do know that it works with my North American NTSC copy. But anyway, go ahead and get your Xbox USB drive hooked up to your computer. And then you could just drag this Majora's Mask ROM anywhere onto your USB drive that you would like. So it's an N64 ROM, so it can work with N64 emulators as well. So I just put it in my games folder, Nintendo 64 folder, and it's right there for me to use on N64 emulation as well as the Zelda 64 Recomp. But again, it could go wherever you want. You just need to remember where you placed it for ROM selection later. But with everything in place, we could go ahead and take our USB drive out of the computer, move it back over to the Xbox, and begin playing. So with the USB drive back in our Xbox, we can head down to Zelda 64 Recompiled and tell it to start. And that'll bring us to the main menu here. So the first option, Select ROM, that's what we are interested in. So we're going to go ahead and press A on this. It'll bring up this file explorer, so we're just going to scroll down to USB here, and then just navigate to where you put your Majora's Mask ROMs. So I put mine in my games folder, under my Nintendo 64 folder, Majora's Mask, there we go. So now we have a new option called Start Game, and if we just press A on this, we are ready to begin playing Majora's Mask on our Xbox Series X and S in this recompiled form. So this is already running at your Xbox's internal resolution at 60 FPS. So it is really nice. There's not much setup that you really need to do for this one just to get a very nice playable experience right out of the gate. So as you can see, just runs really great. Full 60 FPS going on here. Unfortunately, does not support 120 FPS output on Xbox as of making this video. Not sure if that'll ever be possible on dev mode, but 60 is more than good enough for this game. And as you can see, full 16:9 widescreen support as well. So the nice thing is this is all set up for you, ready to go right out of the gate. You don't need to change any settings as previously stated, but if you would like to, you can change settings from the main menu, or in-game, you could press the view button, back button on your Xbox controller to bring up the settings menu. And now you can just navigate through these with your D-pad, change settings as needed. And if you'd like to change up controls, you could do so here as well. It's all very straightforward, easily mapped out. And then, of course, graphics, sound, and then mod support. So there is a D-pad special items mod installed in this version to begin with, which is really nice. It assigns your Ocarina of Time and then your transformation mask to the D-pad, so you don't have to waste any of your inventory space on them. Very handy. But if you would like to install more mods, I will show you how to do so right now. So to get started with installing mods to your Zelda 64 recompiled, just quit out of the game if you are running it and just leave your Xbox on the dev mode home screen for the time being. Now get logged back into your Xbox device portal if you closed out of it, and head over to the File Explorer. Now under Local App Data, find your Zelda 64 recompiled, so it should just be named Recomp. Now from here, head into the AC folder. Then you'll see a Zelda 64 recompiled folder. And then you will see a mods folder, so just go ahead and open up that mods folder for now. Now, if you were looking at the Zelda 64 recompiled entry when you downloaded it earlier, you could see that there is a mod database available at thunderstore.io, Zelda 64 recompiled, so we could just copy this web address into our browser and open it in another tab. And it will bring you to a store page that should look something kind of like this. It might have them in different orders, so it's just kind of whatever. But if you'd like to get an HD texture pack, it's called MMN64HD, so you can just click on this and tell it to download. Then, of course, there's other mods like a modern controller UI that I want to install. So I'm just going to get this one downloaded. Now, this one does require a different mod to function, which is the Text Replacer API, so you could just easily click on anything that it is dependent on and get those downloaded as well. And the last one I'm going to try for this video is to disable the draw distance. This honestly might affect performance negatively, but I want to give it a shot. I don't care. Now, it is worth noting that not all mods are going to work on the Xbox dev mode port of Zelda 64 recompiled due to the RAM limitation, but the HD texture pack and the controller overhaul do work. I know that for a fact. So, I mean, you could go through and try any sorts of mods that you wish to. Honestly, the no letterboxing one sounds interesting too, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab it. So, I mean, feel free to try as many as you want. Again, you just might be limited by the RAM capabilities of Xbox dev mode, but no harm in trying. But now back in our Xbox device portal, we're going to begin uploading these mods to our Zelda 64 recompiled mods folder that we navigated into just a minute ago. So we're going to click on Choose File. And now we're just going to select the mods that we want to install. So again, I want to install the HD texture pack for Majora's Mask. So I'm just going to get that file selected and tell it to upload. And it's going to ask me if I want to extract the zip file contents to this directory. Okay, yes. So now we're just going to wait for this to upload. Now it is worth noting that if you do not have enough storage in your Xbox dev mode settings, some of these uploads might fail if they are larger like this HD texture pack. So if you need to expand your dev mode storage for any reason, you could just go to your dev mode home screen, press the menu button, manage dev storage, and you can increase your dev storage amount. I did this in a previous video up to 10 gigs, and it has proven to be enough for me for the time being. Do note that if you change your Xbox's dev storage, it will delete everything you have in dev mode. So you are going to need to reinstall things if you decide to expand your dev mode storage. But depending on your connection and the size of the mods you're looking to install, they could take some time before they actually finish installing. But once done, you can move on to the next mod you wish to install. So we're just going to choose another file here. So let's go ahead and go with the text replacement one. We're going to tell it to upload and extract its contents to the folder. There it is. Now we'll move on to the next one, no letterboxing. Same process. And now let's go ahead and do disable draw distance. And finally, the modern controller overhaul. And there we go. I've now uploaded all the mods into my mods folder, and they're ready to go on the Xbox. So heading back over to the Xbox, just going to scroll down to Zelda 64 Recompiled. Go ahead and start it. And now under mods, you'll see that it has all of the mods listed, which is friggin' awesome. So it's pretty cool. We can actually configure a lot of properties of these mods. So we're not going to really need to mess with anything for the HD texture pack side of things. But under modern controller overhaul, I'm going to go ahead and get this one configured here. So since we're on Xbox, let's go ahead and do text replacement with Xbox branding here. And then let's go ahead and change up the button placements here. So that looks like how we want it. So I'm just going to disable these PlayStation and 8-bit ones and Nintendo ones real quick. Just leave it on Xbox. But anyway, so that should be exactly how I want this to be. So let's go ahead and start up the game and see how it looks. So right from the title screen, you can see that this is much higher fidelity than it was before, with the text especially. So here we go. All those mods I installed showing up exactly as I wanted them to. Looks absolutely fantastic. And again, the gameplay is just ridiculously smooth at 60 FPS. So incredibly cool what we could do with older games these days. There's more mods that can help improve visuals overall. You can see some seams in the gameplay here. There is actually a mod to help take care of that as well. But still, very cool stuff. And one thing we failed to mention earlier, the game auto-saves. So anytime you make an owl statue save, those don't go away. And anytime you enter Clocktown or a dungeon, it will start the game from there automatically. So very useful stuff. But again, at any point, if you need to change settings while in game, you could just hit that view button. And again, you can adjust positions on your button placements and all that, so that way the UI lines up right. It's just all very cool. But we're going to go ahead and call it here for this one. Zelda 64 Recompiled is an awesome way to experience Majora's Mask on the Xbox Series X and S, and a lot of the cool mods that I'm interested in are working without any issue. Again, not all of them will probably work, but it is still really cool what we get on Xbox Series X and S here with this port. But here at the end of the video, just the usual favors to ask. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit that thumbs up, thumbs down button, depending on how much you like today's video, as well as that sub button and notification bell so you can see when new videos go live on the channel. Loads of content always coming your way, and I'd love to have each and every one of you along for the ride. For anyone interested in further helping support the channel and keep it going, you can also check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Every little bit helps keep us going and bringing more content like this to all of you. Big thank you to all of our current backers. You are just incredible. Thank you for what you do. But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you all back next video.